Hey guys, before we dive into CSS specificity and make sure that you're able to kill that for your front end interviews and just make sure you really understand the concept, I wanted to let you know that it's actually from my course, the 100 Front End Interview Questions Challenge, which has about 9.5 hours of content going over everything from the most common JavaScript questions to specifically asynchronous JavaScript, HTML, CSS, more general questions like dependency injection, recursion, how you stay up to date, and then a special interview prep section as well, and some additional resources. So if you like this and you want to check out the course, you can get it for just $9.99 using the link in the description below or the coupon code CodingGod. CSS specificity. And I apologize if I say that and I struggle with it. As a child, I had a list. Is it a list? I don't know. But sometimes I struggle with my S's, and this word I've noticed I struggled with. So, what is it? Sometimes you'll hear it as, the cascading of CSS. Sometimes you'll hear it about how does inheritance work in CSS. But what we're really talking about is specificity. And the goal here is to find out how much knowledge you have about how style sheets work and what overrides what. And so you need to go into detail and you need to go from top to bottom. So how I'd like to answer this question is starting, well, CSS specificity is about what styles overrate what styles based on our selectors. And so on a very low to high level, to least specific to most specific, let's say we had an H1 element that we wanted to assign a color for. Maybe our initial selector would be just H1 in our style sheet. It's very loose. It's going to target all H1s. The sort of next natural progression would be that would override that would be a class denoted with, of course, the dot prefix. That would take over specificity, meaning it would say if it was originally the H1 was styled red, we put green for the color property and it would now be green. And then we could override that even more so if we signed an ID to that H1, and that would override the class and of course the even weaker selector. And then you could override that even deeper by chaining things together based off that ID, but typically we'll go from here's an element, here's a class, here's an ID. The next real jump is into the actual HTML itself and do inline styles. That will overwrite whatever is in the CSS property. Now, it is important here to mention that this is considered bad convention to do inline styles, and you typically want to have it in your style sheet. One, you have all your styles in one location, and it's sort of a separations of concerns issue. Now, above that, you can also use the important keyword, the exclamation point important after you assign a CSS property, and this will force a style to appear. So we could go back to that the least specific selector of the H1 and put an exclamation point important on the color, and now it would be that one above all else. Now, this is also by many considered a bad convention because it breaks CSS specificity, and it also breaks sort of the cascading aspect of CSS, but it is important to note that that is an option as well. All right, so CSS specificity. Let's take an example here. We have my YouTube channel, and so let's say we want to, with the most loosely defined selector that we can do here of an H1, go ahead and set color to red. Actually, we could do something a little bit even more loose than that, which is this everything selector, and we could set the color to red with that. Very nice. So this is essentially selecting all elements, setting the color to red. We could go one level, a little bit deeper, say H1, go ahead and set the color to green. This is a much more specific selector, even though it's still a very loose selector. And what would be next from here? Well, we could assign a class, and we'll give this a class, and we'll call this something like orange-text. Save that. Now let's go ahead and define our class. Of course, prefixed with the dot in front of it. I'm going to give it a color of orange. Oh, it's like orange dash text. There we go. It's like that should have worked. I know CSS specificity. And you can see here we're going to change the orange. Now we could go one level deeper and give an ID, and we'll go ahead and call this purple dash text. And our color here will be purple. You'll notice, as always, that our IDs are prefixed with the hashtag. Go ahead and give it an ID equal to purple dash text. Go ahead and save that. So now it is purple, and we could even go one level deeper now with our style here, which will overwrite that, and we can give it a color of red, green, yellow, yellow. And that is one level deeper than that specificity. But one thing to keep in mind, we can always throw important on here, and even though it's the least specific, it'll be the only one that matters because the important keyword. As always, this breaks sort of standards and conventions, but it's important to mention this just to show that you know some of the inner workings of CSS when answering this question. Hey guys, don't forget to hit that notification bell or smash that like button while you're at it. And if you're interested, I just released my latest course, the 100 Front-End Technical Question Challenge, which is there to help you pass those front-end technical interviews. There's over 100 questions. You can get it for just $9.99. The link is in the description below, or use coupon code CodingGod.